So into the charts we go, and we do see Bitcoin inching down a little bit today, down to 16,331 currently. Now, the key here is understanding that we still haven't confirmed the breakdown of this level, nor have we, again, even gone near this low pivot. However, like I said in yesterday's video, a weekly close below this trend line here, which is basically inevitable at this point, considering we have literally about 2 hours remaining until the close from when I'm doing this video. That's never a good thing. A weekly close below any technical level, it's not a surefire confirmed breakdown, but it's basically the one step prior. So again, that's where I'm at right now, where I continue to be short-term negative on Bitcoin. Doesn't mean it's not going to get a bounce at some key levels, but again, I am looking at it in a potential to go down to that 12 to 13,000 level before finding major, I repeat, major support. Now, a couple things to go over. Why are we continuing to see weakness in crypto? Basically, there's worry that the FTX issues are going to be the next, or at least the domino that then spills over to CRW, crypto.com. So if we take a look at crypto.com here, and again, this is the one that Matt Damon has done commercials for in the past, take a look at the fall in this just recently. So you've gone from basically 12 to 13 cents. You're now trading below 6 cents, and you can see that continued move down. The question is, how much leverage have they used? Are they in any dire issues? But the bottom line is there's a lot of rumors that this is the next crypto to basically go belly up. So at this stage of the game, folks, I would strongly encourage that if you're leaving your crypto on an exchange, you really need to focus in on just the best of breed. And again, I'm no genius when it comes to which ones are best, but I would say Coinbase, as it's publicly traded, so there's a little bit more transparency there. I've heard Kraken and Gemini are pretty solid as well, but just be very, very careful about leaving anything on an exchange, especially when you're with, some of these ones that aren't as transparent. Okay, so that's where we stand right now. And again, crypto.com, the decline here is definitely continuing to spook the markets. I think that, again, the biggest issue with the FTX debacle, and I'll go to that chart right now, is that basically a lot of big money plus small money was caught up in here. It's not just a situation where you had like Voyager or Celsius with a lot of smaller money. There was some big money that got caught up in this fiasco and is basically, losing 100%. And what that's going to do is, number one, it scares away any big money from investing in crypto, which means a lot of projects will go unfunded. It's basically a hardship that's going to have to be dealt with by the crypto community in the near term. But again, it brings to the forefront that, number one, we're going to get regulation. Number two, I think regulation is absolutely a necessity at this point. And number three is, I think that regulation could come out in the next 3 months, at least the framework. All right, I think that this is going to be the push that the SEC needed to get this out there and get this done. It's interesting because remember yesterday I talked about how basically you're in a scenario where per the Lehman Brothers analysis that I did yesterday in the video, you're about 6 to 7 months away from a bottom in crypto. All right, now what that means is that could coincide with the framework coming to light and then being passed, and then more big money finally starting to invest in Bitcoin. And again, I strongly encourage us to realize that, and I've said this for a long time, I've said which coins would I be willing to hodl? I said Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Bitcoin would be the biggest position. Ethereum would be a smaller position in a hodl account. I've said to you guys that there are no other coins that I'd be willing to hodl because I don't know enough about them. I don't believe that there's enough transparency on them. And again, I've seen in the past, even from the last bull cycle in 2017, the leaders there then, aside from Bitcoin and Ethereum, are no longer the biggest ones now. And again, that's got to be something that you take into account. So again, look at Solana. Solana was king of the hill for quite a while. And if we go to Solana here, and again, that's the FTX chart. Let me flip away from that one. But if you go here, Solana obviously has come down from recent highs of around $38. You're now trading at $13 and change. If you go to Avalanche, same thing. If you go to many of these projects, they've collapsed sharply lower. And if you ask me which ones are going to be the leaders in 5 years, I honestly couldn't tell you aside from Bitcoin and Ethereum. So just kind of be aware of this. I mean, this is the Wild West. I've said that. And based on it being the Wild West, you have to invest appropriately, which means only go with best of breed if you're holding long term. Now, for your swing trading, I think there's no problems with swing trading Solana, Avalanche, Polkadot, Cardano, any of these really, to be honest. I mean, heck, you could even swing trade, crypto.com. At some point, it'll probably get a bounce. And if you pick the right level based on technicals, you could make some money. But you just got to be real careful about it. Only devote a small amount of money versus bigger positions like I do when I go in on Bitcoin or Ethereum. All right, so let's go through a couple of these other ones here, folks. I do want to take a look at, Matic. Let's see what we got on Matic here, as I want to just keep an eye on that one. Again, that's starting to come in. I do have a buy level on Matic down here. This trend line, which is a retrace from pivot to pivot to pivot, this would be a retrace down here, and basically would also match up with this double bottom. So to me, that's the level to buy. We talked about, again, even in this environment, there's still going to be bounces in crypto. So basically, I'm going to put a trend line right to that point. That's your spot to trade. Okay? So again, keep an eye on that. That's all the way around 70 cents. We have come down recently back to about 87 cents. But again, watch for that 70 cent level. Now, let's take a look at Quant. Remember, I told you on Quant that after we played that first trade, I wasn't willing to go into it again until it went lower. We talked about maybe going back into it, and then yesterday in the video, I said, nope, the technicals, the risk reward was not there. Well, you can see Quant starting to break down. Now, I do have another level coming up here. All right, there's a couple levels, but the big one for me is going to be right here. This is your next big level on Quant. And again, that's right around $92. Maybe this pivot low, I could nibble a little around 95. But either way, at this stage of the game, I'm looking for a level below $100 on Quant. But again, that is actually an interesting level. If we got down to that point, I do think, again, it's worthwhile to get involved in Quant and potentially play it for a swing trade. All right, let's look at Ripple here, XRP. And again, XRP continuing to fall. The one positive for XRP, it's back and holding this longer-term trend line. See this longer-term trend line right here? It is holding that, and that is, again, a positive for the overall sector. So as long as you hold that line, it's honestly okay. I mean, if you wanted to take a gamble. Now, remember, a gamble here should be like 2% of your portfolio or less, in my opinion, considering the environment we're in crypto, considering that we're going to get this judge's decision. I think it might even be November 15th or something like that. So you don't want to go, big in here. But again, this is your major support. If it breaks that, then you got to be really concerned because it could go down to this level here, which currently sits around 21 cents. But right now, it is holding support. And right now, you know what resistance is? Resistance is right up to that point. This former support is now resistance on it, which is, it's not bad. It's about a 33% move higher, so it's not too shabby in terms of that level. Let's look at Cardano real quick here. See what we got on Cardano. Cardano continuing to kind of slip back down. This lower level still remains the level on there. I am intrigued by a buy around 30 cents on this. So again, in terms of adding to my position, look for that level. I am looking to add there. Okay, and again, I do believe in the long-term Cardano story, but again, I don't know if it's going to be a leader. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know how low it's going to go before it does that. So again, for me, hodling, probably not. I think it will be around, but again, I'm not as sure on that as I am with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin, by the way, there's not a lot of purpose to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has become that digitalized gold trade where big money is exceedingly interested in it as a store of safety. And that's all you need. You need basically the only reason why a currency has any value is because certain big players give it value, right? The U.S. dollar is the U.S. dollar and the reserve currency because the world has adopted it as so and believes in it. So the more big money believes in Bitcoin, the more credence it gets. And that's why I'm so tuned in to, which big players are invested in it, which big players are not. Is it drawing new big investors into it throughout time? That's very important. Those are all things that, again, are key. And again, just going back to what's happening with FTX, as of now, I would almost guarantee that there's not going to be big players that are going to be drawn in until we have a framework of transparency. All right. Let's take a look. We talked about Solana already, but again, let me just bring that up. And again, let's go to this Solana Binance chart. Solana is going to have support down at this double bottom right here. And again, that's right around $12.40. And if it breaks that, we have to go out to this longer term chart. And by the way, that's a huge support right around this level, right around these lows here, right around $12.30, $12.40. But if it breaks that, it's going to have more support around 10.5. So 10.5 would be another major level on that front. Looking at Avalanche here real quick, and Avalanche, kind of the same thing here. It's had a little bit of a drawdown, still holding the low pivot here. But again, if crypto.com goes belly up now, then you're going to see another wave of selling in crypto because, again, it's just the fear factor. It's the fear factor that's going to continue to kind of get involved here, and fear is the biggest emotion and the most powerful emotion in the markets. It doesn't matter if it's a commodity, stock, or crypto. It is by far the most powerful emotion. Okay? So that's where we are on these fronts at this point. Binance continues to seem to be the one exchange here that has this coin, obviously, that is holding up. Again, doesn't mean it's not going to get down here, but if it dumped out, would I be someone that accumulates it? I'd have to see. I do believe that CZ, who basically is the creator, the runner here, you know, he obviously seems a little bit more cognizant of the issues that some of these other players have run into. Doesn't mean that he's not done some bad things. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. But if there's one to believe in, I would say Binance is that one. Having said that, as you guys know, I do not hold any BNB at this point. But if it dumped out to a key level on general crypto hysteria, then I might be interested in that. Now, again, there are some other ways to play this, like Coinbase. If we look at Coinbase, Coinbase is a publicly traded company. Now, the reason I like Coinbase, and by the way, I'm not saying that the stock price is a good buy, but the reason why I like Coinbase is because they're publicly traded, they do have some oversight there. They have to report earnings. They have to report different stats. And so it makes me trust them a little bit more. Not to say trust can't be broken. We obviously know from many other cryptos that people have trusted that has been broken. But I'm hopeful that someone like Coinbase, because they're publicly traded and because they're scrutinized by the SEC, hopefully they haven't done some crazy stuff as well. So, you know, again, you can see that if this chart dumped out, would I be potentially interested in picking up some? Yeah, at a certain price. I don't know at what price. I mean, $40, $41 is your double bottom low here. And then below that, you don't have any more data because the stock became public over here, right? I mean, right in this area here. But nonetheless, I am keeping an eye on it. I think, again, this is, and I said this recently, I said this is the beginning of the final flush in crypto. And I said yesterday, I said there's 6 to 7 months until your bottom is put in. If you match this up to the Lehman Brothers collapse, there's still about 50% downside, a little less now because we're a little bit lower in crypto, but probably 9 to 10,000, somewhere in that vicinity, that's where you are going. All right, so again, for me, does it mean that I'm not going to pick up some when we get below 15,000 as a hodl? Nope, I'm absolutely going to do that because I don't know if it will go that low, but I'm certainly allocating enough future funds to be able to buy some at a break of 15, a break of 12, a break of 10, a break of 8, all the way down, starting to accumulate as the thesis for Bitcoin has not changed one iota. If you believe in terms of a digital gold, if you believe that at some point there will be an epic, catastrophic economic debacle like a depression or a great recession again, the government, the Fed will print money again. I guarantee it. And therefore it makes even more sense to have something like Bitcoin as an alternative to store your capital in. So the thesis is valid, and that's the key. The only tricky thing is figuring out how much does price get driven down due to fear before it finally bottoms out. Then you can make a lot of money. And I truly believe that the next leg on Bitcoin will be its biggest leg up, probably taking it well over 100,000, maybe even to 250 or higher. And that leg, by the way, should be driven and most likely will be driven by institutional money this time. All right, obviously small money will drive it up as well, but you'll see institutional adoption once we get regulation out there, and that's what I'm looking forward to. All right, guys, enough said on my front. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. Take care.